I stood outside City Hall for 10 minutes, but the messages I'd sent to Marcus remained unanswered. Just as I was about to call him to give him an earful, my phone screen suddenly lit up. His childhood friend and ex-girlfriend, Brooke, had posted a 9-photo grid on her social media feed. The next second, my fiancée appeared in the photo, crouching to change a tire on her newly bought Maserati. The caption read, "Thanks, Marcus, for the rescue. Otherwise, my limited edition pink baby would have broken down." All my anger dissipated instantly. I immediately blocked him on all platforms and listed the white dress I'd bought for getting our marriage license on Poshmark. When I got home, I found he'd sent hundreds of text messages from an unknown number. There was also a voice message, "Honey, Brooke's dad is supposed to be our wedding. I can't really afford to offend her, can I? Tomorrow we'll find a luckier day to get our marriage license, I promise." I didn't reply. I no longer needed him in my life. Before we continue, please subscribe to this channel and tell us in the comments where you're listening from. My phone screen went dark. I pushed open the door we had shared for 3 years. The apartment looked just as it had that morning, still filled with Marcus's traces. I walked straight into the bedroom and pulled out the largest suitcase. Opening the closet, I began packing my belongings. One by one, I folded them neatly and placed them in the suitcase. Just then, my phone rang. It was an unknown number. I swiped to answer, but said nothing. From the other end came a syrupy sweet voice, tinged with a hint of gloating. "Hello? Is this Grace?" It was Brooke. I still didn't speak, not even pausing my packing. "Why aren't you saying anything? Oh, I know, you must be mad at Marcus, right? Don't blame him, today was really just an accident." My car suddenly broke down on the road, and I was scared being alone, so I could only ask him for help. "You know, Marcus and I grew up together, he's always been especially protective of me." I forcefully shoved a sweater into a corner of the suitcase and finally spoke. "Are you done?" Brooke faltered. "You. What kind of attitude is that?" "I'm trying to be nice and explain, don't be ungrateful." I let out a small laugh. "Explain? Explain how you two went off to put on a show of feigned innocent affection on the day Marcus and I were supposed to get our marriage license?" "Brooke, you don't need to explain anything to me. You should explain it to the Academy judges and see if they'll give you an award for master. You." The breathing on the other end of the line became noticeably ragged. "Grace, don't go too far. Marcus said he was just temporarily misled by you. The most important person in his heart will always be me." "Is that so?" I zipped up the suitcase, and it closed with a crisp click. "That's great then. You can tell him now that he's free. You can take him back like a treasured possession. I don't want him anymore." With that, I didn't wait for another sound from her. I hung up the phone and blocked the number. The world finally became quiet. Dragging my suitcase, I looked around the place I had once thought would be home. I walked over, took all my shoes from the shoe rack, and put them into a pre-prepared cardboard box. Finally, I picked up our photo together that sat on the entryway table. In the photo, I was smiling brightly. Marcus had his arm around me, but his gaze drifted beyond the lens. I disassembled the frame, took out the photo, and tore it in half. Then, along with the empty frame, I threw it into the trash can by the door. Dragging the suitcase and holding the cardboard box, I left without looking back. I moved into the studio apartment I had already rented. By the time I had everything organized, it was late at night. Exhausted, I collapsed onto the bed. My phone vibrated with a Poshmark notification. "Your listing for brand new, M-size white dress, tried on. Once has been sold." I messaged the buyer, telling them I'd ship the package first thing in the morning. Then, I turned off my phone. The next day, I woke up naturally. I cleaned my new place and then went to a nearby supermarket to fill the fridge with groceries. In the afternoon, I scheduled a package pickup and sent the white dress. Towards evening, I received a call from my mom. "Grace, what's going on with you and Marcus? He's downstairs at our house, saying he's here to see you and give you a surprise." I frowned. "Mom, we've broken up." "What? Broken up? Why didn't you tell us about something this big?" My mom sounded very surprised. "We just broke up yesterday, so I haven't had a chance." "Mom, please don't let him come up, and don't pay any attention to him. I don't want anything to do with him anymore." "No, but that boy seemed like such a good kid. Is there some misunderstanding?" I sighed and told my mom everything that had happened outside City Hall yesterday. There was a long silence on the other end. "That jerk. He makes me so mad." My mom was even angrier than I was. "Grace, you did the right thing. You don't need a man like that. You wait here, I'll go down and kick him out for you." After I hung up, it wasn't long before my doorbell rang. Opening the door, I saw Marcus's face, etched with impatience and anger. He must have gotten my new address from my mom. Grace, are you done playing games? He immediately spoke in a demanding, accusatory tone. There's a limit to how much you can act out, right? Blocking me, moving out, is that really necessary? I leaned against the doorframe, looking at him coldly. Marcus, we've broken up. Please leave my apartment. Break up? Did I agree to that? He looked as if he'd heard the funniest joke. Grace, let me tell you, I didn't come here today to beg you to come back. I came to inform you. My mom, Mrs. Hayes, has already booked a private room at the terrace for the night after tomorrow. You're coming with me too. Apologize to Brooke and her dad. Apologize? Why would I apologize? Because your petty and offended uncle. Do you have any idea how important he is to me? Our company's project for next quarter depends on his approval. Marcus's expression was utterly self-righteous. Grace, I've been with you for 7 years, not for you to be holding me back. I took out my phone, opened the Poshmark transaction page, and held it out to him. See this? Marcus frowned, a look of confusion on his face. What is it? The dress I bought for getting our marriage license? I sold it. Marcus, from the moment I decided to sell it, we were already over. Now, please leave. Marcus's expression finally changed, morphing from impatience to shock, then to embarrassed rage. Grace, don't you dare. He took a step forward, trying to grab me. I was prepared and slammed the door shut with a bang, shutting out all his enraged shouts and accusations. From outside the door came Marcus's furious pounding and shouting. Grace, open the door. Do you think I'll give in if you act like this? I'm telling you, no way. If you don't come with me to apologize today, then we're completely over. Ignoring him, I turned and walked into the living room to pour myself a glass of water. My phone began vibrating frantically. It was Daniel, one of Marcus's friends, calling. I swiped to decline the call. Immediately after, Ethan called. Then others from their social circle. The calls kept coming, one after another. Annoyed, I simply put my phone on silent. Not long after, WhatsApp messages popped up. They'd created a group chat without me and then sent me a screenshot. Daniel, Grace, don't hold a grudge against Marcus. He's doing this for your future. Ethan, that's right, Grace. Uncle's connections are too important for Marcus's career. Just back down a little. Another person said, isn't the most important thing for a woman to support her man's career? How can you be so unreasonable? I couldn't be bothered to argue with them. I immediately left all the group chats related to them and then blocked them one by one. The world became quiet once more. The pounding on the door outside also stopped. I thought Marcus had finally given up and left. But when I was about to go out to take out the trash that evening, I opened the door and saw him crouching right outside. Hearing the door open, he abruptly looked up, his eyes bloodshot. Grace. His voice was hoarse and weary. Can we please talk properly? I stood there, holding the trash bag, looking at him expressionlessly. There's nothing for me to discuss with you. There is. There is. He anxiously stood up, blocking my way. I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have abandoned you on the day we were supposed to get our marriage license. But, she really didn't mean it, she was just what? I interrupted him. Just habitually asserting her claim in front of your girlfriend? Or just enjoying the thrill of taking you from me? Marcus's face went pale. Grace, don't talk about her like that, she's not that kind of person. Even now, he was still defending her. My heart completely hardened. Marcus, move. My voice was icy. I won't move. Not unless you agree to come home with me. He stubbornly blocked the way. Just as we were at an impasse, my phone lit up again. It was a screenshot from my best friend. Another post from Brooke's social media feed. This time it was a photo from a dinner party, with glasses clinking. In the center of the photo were Brooke and her wedding father, and was sitting right beside Brooke. He had his head slightly bowed, his expression unclear, but I'd never mistake the gray suit I'd bought him. Brooke's caption was full of boasting and subtle implications. Celebrating a successful project. Thanks to Dad's support, and also to Marcus for his full support throughout. You're my best partner. I raised my phone and shoved the screen into Marcus's face. This is for our future too, right? You spent the whole afternoon waiting outside my door to apologize to me? And then in the evening, you went off to celebrate with your business partner? Marcus stared at the photo, completely frozen. He opened his mouth, as if to explain something. I was forced to go by my parents. I didn't want to go at all. I lowered my phone. Marcus, you're truly pathetic. I walked around him, went to the stairwell, and threw the trash into the trash can. Then, I took out my phone and, right in front of him, called building management. Hello, this is apartment 1203. There's a strange man loitering outside my door, refusing to leave and severely disrupting my daily life. Could you please send security up to handle it? On the other end of the line, Marcus's face turned from pale to ashen. Security arrived quickly. Two tall security guards saw Marcus crouching by my door, then looked at me, their expressions a little hesitant. Ma'am, is this gentleman? I don't know him, I replied coldly. He's been harassing me for a while. Please ask him to leave. Marcus suddenly stood up, staring at me in disbelief. Grace, what did you say? You don't know me? 7 years of our relationship, and you're just going to say you don't know me? His voice was loud, causing neighbors to peer out. Officers, please. I nodded to the security guards, then prepared to close the door, but shoved his hand against the door. Grace, do you really have to take things this far? His eyes were bloodshot and filled with a sense of injustice. What exactly did I do wrong? Was it just being late to get our marriage license? Was I wrong to go to a work function for the company, for our future? Why can't you just try to understand me? I stopped closing the door, looking at him calmly. Marcus, your mistake wasn't being late, nor was it attending a work function. Your mistake was that you never truly had me in your heart. Your mistake was that you implicitly allowed Brooke to put herself above me. Our mistake was that while you enjoyed my kindness, you were casually going above and beyond for another woman. He froze, his lips moving, but no words came out. The security guard stepped forward, separating us. Sir, please leave and do not disturb this lady's peace. Marcus was escorted away by the 2 security guards, still looking back at me with lingering resentment. Grace, you'll regret this. You will definitely regret this. I didn't spare him another glance, firmly closing the door. The world was finally completely quiet. I leaned against the door, exhaling slowly. In the following days, Marcus didn't bother me again. I thought he had finally come to his senses and given up. Until the weekend, when my parents suddenly called, asking me to come home. They said it was important. Arriving home, as soon as I opened the door, I saw Marcus sitting on the living room sofa. His parents, Mr. and Mrs. Hayes, sat beside him, and the coffee table was laden with various gifts that clearly looked expensive. My parents looked displeased. Seeing me return, Marcus immediately stood up, his face plastered with an ingratiating smile. Grace, you're back. I ignored him, walking over to sit next to my mom. Dad, Mom, what's going on? My mom patted my hand, signaling me not to worry. Mrs. Hayes spoke first, her tone dripping with condescending generosity. Grace, you see, our Marcus knows he made a mistake. Young people make mistakes, it's perfectly normal. Don't take it too seriously. We're here today specifically to ask your parents for your hand in marriage. These are the betrothal gifts. If you think they're not enough, we can add more. Marcus quickly chimed in. That's right, Grace, I promise, it won't happen again. Let's pick a new day to get our marriage license, okay? Before I could speak, my dad spoke first. He had been sitting silently nearby. Now, he picked up his teacup, blew on the hot liquid, and slowly began to speak. Marcus, I'm just a simple man, I don't you'd understand you young people's affairs. I just want to ask, on the day you were supposed to be getting your marriage license, you said you were changing Ms. Brooke's car tire? Marcus stiffened. He quickly nodded. Yes, sir, her car broke down on the side of the road, it was quite urgent. My dad put down his teacup and smiled. Oh? What kind of car? A Maserati, the limited edition pink version, Marcus answered quickly. The smile on my dad's face deepened. A Maserati? And a limited edition? Even though I'm retired, I used to be a mechanic and have dealt with these luxury cars before. Cars of that caliber use top-of-the-line run-flat tires. Even if they get a puncture, they can safely drive dozens, even 100 kilometers, to a repair shop. Furthermore, owners of limited edition cars receive 24-hour one-on-one roadside assistance. One phone call, and a tow truck and mechanic will be there immediately. My dad's gaze sharpened, fixed directly on Marcus. So tell me, why would she, with such a high-end car, bypass professional roadside assistance and insist on having you, an amateur, squat by the roadside to change her tire? Marcus's face instantly drained of color. His mouth hung open, unable to utter a single word. Mr. and Mrs. Hayes were also stunned. Mrs. Hayes looked at her son in disbelief. Marcus, what? What is this all about? Didn't you say? Marcus's Adam's apple bobbed, and his voice was dry. I went to help her deal with an urgent business matter. Under my parents' and my icy gaze, he finally confessed the truth. She had a very important contract that was about to fall apart. The other party was very difficult, and only I could handle it. I helped her secure that deal, which is why I was delayed. So, for Brooke's contract, you could just casually abandon me alone outside City Hall? I asked, a cold laugh escaping me. No, that's not it, Grace, please let me explain. He frantically tried to grab my hand, but I sidestepped, avoiding. Him. That contract was really important to her, and Uncle had also asked for my help. I couldn't not go. Always Robert. Always this kind of manipulative excuse. That's enough, my dad cut him off sternly. Marcus, our Grace doesn't have to be with you. I used to think you were a responsible young man, but now it seems I misjudged you. You should leave. We do not approve of this marriage arrangement. My dad showed them the door. Marcus's face was chalk white. He looked to his parents for help. Mrs. Hayes's face alternated between pale and flushed. She stood up, pulling Marcus, who still looked like he wanted to say something. Fine, Grace, you certainly have backbone. I'd like to see what better you can find without our Marcus. With that, she dragged her son and husband out without looking back, slamming the door behind them. My mom looked at me worriedly. Grace, are you all right? I shook my head, smiling instead. Mom, I'm fine. I've never been better. After that day, I completely blocked Marcus and his parents, Mr. and Mrs. Hayes, from all contact. I am a jewelry designer, and now, I picked up my career again. I signed up for an international jewelry design competition. To find inspiration, I traveled alone to Santa. A month later, I returned to the city with my work, breaking. On my first day back at work, in the company lobby, I saw an unexpected person. Marcus. He had lost a lot of weight, was unshaven, with sunken eyes, and looked utterly haggard. He stood among the crowd, holding a large bouquet of roses. Seeing me return, his eyes lit up, and he immediately rushed over. Grace! I instinctively took a step back, maintaining my distance. What do you want? Grace, I was wrong. I truly know I was wrong. He held the flowers out to me, his posture humble. These past few days since you left, I've thought about you every day. I'm going crazy. Please forgive me, okay? Let's start over. Colleagues around us had already started pointing and whisper. Marcus, we're over. I walked around him, preparing to go upstairs. But he grabbed my arm, his grip surprisingly strong. I don't believe it. You still love me, don't you? You're just being stubborn. I forcefully shook off his hand, my gaze icy. Let go. Or I'll call security. Just then, a clear female voice interjected. Marcus, what are you doing here? Brooke, dressed in designer clothes, with flawless makeup, walked over in high heels. Seeing me and Marcus grappling, she immediately put on a wronged and innocent expression. Grace, have you misunderstood Marcus again? He just cares about you too much. Before she could finish, I was utterly fed up. Brooke walked over to Marcus, intimately linked her arm through his, and adopted the air of someone who owned him. Grace, I know you're still upset. But feelings can't be forced. What needs now is a partner who can understand him and support his career. Her words sounded noble enough, but every sentence subtly implied that I was thoughtless. Some colleagues, unaware of the full truth, began whispering. Oh wow, what a twist. So, it's the ex-girlfriend causing a scene. That guy looks so devoted, why is she so cold? In front of me, she didn't directly attack me but instead started playing the victim to those around her. What some of you might not know is that Marcus and I grew up together, and our families always hoped we'd end up together. But then Grace came along. And we had to bury our feelings deep down. Now, Marcus has finally seen his true feelings, but Grace refuses to let go. She even came to our company to cause trouble and disrupt his work. As she spoke, her eyes welled up. Marcus, with her arm still linked through his, looked awkward. He wanted to pull away but didn't dare, glancing from me to Brooke. I watched Brooke's performance, and once she'd set the scene sufficiently, I slowly took out my phone. I didn't argue a single word with her. I simply played a recording. It was the voice Marcus had previously sent me from an unknown number. Honey, Brooke's dad is supposed to be our wedding. I can't really afford to offend her, can I? Marcus's voice message, with its incredibly flawed logic, echoed clearly through the company lobby. The surroundings instantly fell silent. Everyone's gaze shifted from me to Brooke and Marcus. Brooke's face instantly went white. You. Brooke pointed at me, too angry to speak. I turned off the recording and put my phone back in my bag. Ms. Brooke, next time you want to put on a show, make sure your script is consistent. Don't let your leading man's lines contradict your plot. With that, I didn't spare another glance at her and Marcus's stunned faces, turning to walk towards the elevator. Behind me, I heard the suppressed murmurs of my colleagues. Oh wow, this twist. So, it was the other woman who stole him and then tried to blame the victim. She looks so innocent, but she's so manipulative? The elevator door slowly closed, cutting off everything outside. I looked at my own calm face in the mirror. Back at my desk, I quickly immersed myself in work. That afternoon, my department head called me into her office. Grace, I've seen your design submission for breaking, and it's incredibly insightful. I've already registered you for the Starlight Jewelry competition. Prepare well, you have a strong chance of winning an award. This was the best news I'd heard since returning to the company. Thank you, Director. I stood up excitedly and bowed deeply. The preliminary round of the Starlight went smoothly, and my work, breaking, successfully advanced to the finals. I began to devote myself entirely to refining my final entry. Marcus, however, didn't give up. After that failed confrontation in the company lobby, he changed his tactics. He stopped openly blocking my path and instead started orchestrating various chance encounters. At my usual local shop, on my way home from work, and even at the ART I visited on weekends. He would always happen to show up. Then he would look at me with a deeply affectionate, yet wounded, gaze. Without saying a word, he would just stare. I ignored him completely. He wanted to put on a one-man show, but I had no interest in being an audience member. Seeing that this tactic was ineffective, he started playing the emotional card. He went to our university campus, photographed the campus where we used to walk together, and the university library where we spent time, then posted them on his social media feed, making sure I could see them. The caption read, "The scenery remains, but the people have changed. 7 years, can it really be forgotten so easily?" After seeing it, I immediately blocked his posts. A week before the finals, I needed to go to the studio to oversee the model's production. This was a critical stage, and there could be no mistakes. But on the morning I was set to leave for the studio, I received an unknown call. On the other end was a middle-aged woman's voice, carrying an air of unquestionable authority. "Is this Grace?" "I'm Mrs. Hayes." I frowned, wanting to hang up immediately. "Don't hang up yet." She seemed to guess my intention. "I just want to say a few words to you. I'm at the local shop downstairs from your office. Come down, and we'll talk." "I don't think we have anything to talk about." "Oh really? If you want to smoothly participate in that Starlight, I advise you to come down." I agreed. At the local shop, Mrs. Hayes sat primly opposite me, her makeup flawless, her posture elegant. She came straight to the point, pulling a debit card from her bag and pushing it across the table to me. "There's $500,000 in here. Leave my son, and leave this city." "Ma'am, have you been watching too many dramas? Is it really common now to just get rid of people with money?" Her expression darkened. "Grace, I'm not negotiating with you. Because of you, Marcus can't even focus on work, he's distribute odd all day long. His father, Mr. Hayes' company, is currently bidding on a major project, and I'm very worried about him in this state. A good woman is a support to her man, not a stumbling block. You are destroying him." "Ma'am, I'm not destroying him," I said, looking at her calmly. "It's your indulgence, Brooke's insatiable greed, and his own lack of principles." $500,000? Do you think my dignity and 7 years of my life are worth that much? I pushed the debit card back. "I won't take your money, and I won't leave this city. I'll compete in my competition based on my own abilities. If anyone tries to obstruct me using underhanded tactics, then we'll see each other in court." Mrs. Hayes's face completely changed. Her lips trembled with anger. "Fine, fine, fine. Grace, you're refusing common courtesy and inviting trouble. You just wait." She grabbed her bag and left in a huff. After the unpleasant encounter with Mrs. Hayes, I immediately called the manager of the studio to confirm the safety of my design model. Instead of going directly to the studio, I first went home and picked up a small voice recorder. Then, I recounted my conversation with Mrs. Hayes and my concerns, in full, to my department director. The director was a shrewd and capable woman. After listening, her expression also darkened. "Grace, don't worry. This isn't just a personal matter for you, it also affects the company's reputation. I'll arrange for a colleague from the legal department to accompany you to the studio and monitor everything. Additionally, I'll send someone to retrieve and back up the surveillance footage from the studio. We have nothing to hide, and we're not afraid of any tricks." That afternoon, Sarah, a colleague from the legal department, and I went to the studio. Mr. Davis, the studio manager, received us and confidently guaranteed that the model would be absolutely foolproof. Don't worry, Grace. For your precious piece, I've arranged a private room with 24-hour surveillance. No one will touch it. We went to see the model, and it was indeed perfectly intact. Sarah followed protocol, handed over the security arrangements to the studio, and copied the recent surveillance footage. Everything seemed watertight. But my unease grew stronger and stronger. A thought flashed through my mind, the design concept. If someone could prove that my design concept was plagiarized, then I would be completely finished in this industry. That would be far more malicious than destroying a model. Brooke. I immediately took out my phone and started searching online for related designers and works. I entered every keyword I could think of: rebirth, freedom, butterfly, breaking. An hour, 2 hours. Just as I was about to give up, a designer's name jumped into my sight. A French independent designer named Mia. On her personal website, a series of works was prominently displayed, titled Rebirth. And one of the featured designs was a butterfly brooch. From its form, lines, and even its symbolism, it was strikingly similar to my breaking. The publication date was 3 days ago. My design draft, however, had been completed a month ago. I clicked on the designer's profile, and a familiar face appeared on the screen. Although she was wearing heavy makeup and had a different hairstyle, I recognized her instantly. It was Brooke. She actually used this method to pull the rug out from under me. She beat me to it, publishing a highly similar work abroad under a fabricated identity before my piece could officially debut. Then, when I participated in the finals and was in the spotlight, she would jump out and accuse me of plagiarism. By then, I would be unable to clear my name and my reputation would be ruined. I looked at Brooke's smug face on the screen, trembling with anger. I had to find evidence to prove my innocence. I immediately called the director and told her about this astonishing discovery. The director was also shocked. After hearing it, Grace, don't panic. We'll activate our emergency protocol right away. Gather all your design drafts, sketches, including any date-stamped digital files. The department will immediately contact lawyers in France to investigate Mia's identity. We must resolve this before the finals. In the following days, my company's legal team and I were working almost around the clock. I compiled all the materials I had from the initial conception of breaking. From the sketches I drew during my initial trip to Santa, to every revised design draft, and even email records of communication with the studio. All the documents bore clear, unalterable timestamps. Concurrently, the legal department, through its partner firm in France, also uncovered the true identity of Mia. It was indeed Brooke. She had used an intermediary agency to fabricate an identity and credentials, registering on that designer website. The day before the finals, we submitted all the evidence to the Starlight Organizing Committee. This included proof of my originality, as well as evidence of Brooke's fabricated identity and malicious plagiarism. The organizing committee took it very seriously and immediately formed an investigation team. On the day of the finals, the venue was dazzling. Top designers, fashion media, and jewelers from home and abroad had all gathered. I was the last to present. When my work, Breaking, was presented center stage via holographic projection, a collective gasp of astonishment filled the entire hall. It was a butterfly brooch, intricately set with diamonds and sapphires. One half of the butterfly's wings was still encased in a cocoon crafted with a platinum filigree technique, while the other half had already unfurled, shimmering with brilliant light. It symbolized confinement and liberation, pain and rebirth. I stood on stage, explaining my design concept. I believe that everyone, at some point in their lives, experiences a time of confinement and darkness. But as long as we have the courage to break free, we will eventually all have our own moment of emerging from our cocoon as a butterfly. This piece is for everyone who has experienced, or is currently experiencing, hardship. And it's for myself, too. As soon as I finished speaking, a thunderous applause erupted from the audience. Just then, a discordant voice suddenly rang out from behind the judges' panel. I object. Brooke stood up, accompanied by a so-called copyright lawyer. I accused designer Grace's work, Breaking the Cocoon, of severely plagiarizing French designer Mia's work, Rebirth. As soon as she finished speaking, the entire hall erupted in an uproar. All cameras instantly turned to focus on her and me. A triumphant smile played on her lips. Marcus was also sitting in the audience, his gaze complex as he looked at me on stage. The host tried to regain control, but Brooke's lawyer had already walked onto the stage, handing printed evidence to the judges. Please look, esteemed judges, this is a piece that Mia published on her personal website just a week ago. Both the design concept and the stylistic elements are highly similar to Miss's work. We have reason to believe that Miss exploited an information asymmetry to plagiarize Mia's creative ideas. The judges' expressions grew grave as they examined the documents. The murmurs from the audience grew louder. Brooke's lips couldn't help but curl into a smile. However, the chairman of the judging panel, a highly respected French designer, calmly finished reviewing the materials. Then, he looked up at Brooke and said in fluent Chinese, "Miss, isn't it? Before you accuse others, I think you should first explain your relationship with this designer, Mia." Brooke's smile froze on her face. Without waiting for her reply, the chairman took the microphone and announced to the entire hall, "The organizing committee has received and verified all the evidence provided by Mississippi. We can confirm T. had all design processes for breaking the cocoon predate the so-called work published online by Mississippi. Furthermore, we possess all evidence proving Miss's fabricated identity and malicious framing. The cup will not tolerate any form of plagiarism, nor will it tolerate such unscrupulous tactics used to suppress a competitor. We hereby announce the permanent disqualification of Brooke from participating in the Starlight and all related activities, and her actions will be reported to the entire industry." Brooke's face flushed, then paled, then turned ashen. The eyes of the entire audience shifted from questioning to disdain and anger. "Liar! Get off the stage!" Flashbulbs furiously popped, capturing her disgraced appearance. Our company's legal representative stood up and coldly added, "Regarding Brooke's defamation of character against our company's designer, Grace, and the business losses incurred by our company, we reserve the right to pursue legal liability." Brooke's knees buckled, and she nearly collapsed to the floor. I looked at her, feeling no pity. Just then, Marcus, who had been silent, suddenly rushed out from the audience. He didn't look at Brooke. Instead, he rushed to the edge of the stage, gazing up at me. "Grace!" His eyes were bloodshot, his voice hoarse. "I'm sorry. It's all my fault. I failed to protect you. I didn't know she would do something like this. I broke up with her. I'm completely done with her. Grace, please give me another chance, okay?" He pleaded for forgiveness, begging me in front of everyone. But it was too late. I picked up the microphone, and my voice clearly resonated throughout the venue. "No, thank you." Then, I turned and walked backstage. Behind me, the announcement of this year's Starlight Gold winner began. This year's Starlight Gold winner is Grace, for her work, Breaking the Cocoon. Applause and cheers drowned out everything. They also drowned out Marcus's desperate cries. My world had finally broken free from its cocoon and emerged as a butterfly. The Cup Award made me famous overnight. My work, Breaking the Cocoon, was purchased for a high price by a top jewelry brand, and I also received a job offer to become their chief. Brooke and Marcus, on the other hand, became the laughingstock of the industry. Due to malicious plagiarism and defamation, Brooke was blacklisted by the entire industry. Her father's credibility at his company plummeted because of his daughter's scandal, and he lost several important projects. Marcus's company was similarly affected. In his attempts to win me back, he neglected his work, offended the Zhou family, and then staged that shameful public plea during the finals, causing his company's image to plummet and partners to withdraw their investments. I heard that he was ultimately forced to sell his company shares and left disgraced. I heard all of this later from friends. I accepted the new job offer, moved to a new city, and began a completely new life. Here, no one knew my past. I was just a jewelry designer who let her work speak for itself, Grace. A year later, my personal brand studio officially launched. On opening day, all my industry friends and partners came. I moved confidently through the crowd, wearing a sharp white suit. Just then, a familiar figure appeared at the doorway. He stood there quietly, holding a bouquet of sunflowers, watching me. It was the buyer who had bought my white dress on Poshmark. And my current boyfriend, Liam. He was a lawyer, and he had originally bought that dress as a birthday gift for his sister. That's how we met. He learned my story and had silently supported and stayed by my side ever since. During the time I was entangled in the lawsuit with Brooke, he gave me the most professional legal advice. He never pressed me about my past, yet he was always there when I needed him. He walked over, handed me the flowers, his eyes filled with tenderness. "Congratulations, Grace." I took the flowers and ID with a smile. "Thank you, Liam." We smiled at each other. The studio's opening ceremony was a great success. That evening, Liam and I walked home. A gentle evening breeze rustled, and the streetlights stretched our shadows long. "What are you thinking about?" he asked me. "I'm thinking that exactly a year ago, I was still suffering from a failed relationship, I mused. Now, it feels like all of that happened in another lifetime. Liam squeezed my hand. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. See? Aren't you doing wonderfully now? I nodded, leaning my head on his shoulder. Another year passed. Liam and I walked into City Hall together. It was the same place. But this time, the person by my side was the right one. We filled out the forms and took our photos. When the clerk handed us those 2 marriage certificates, I saw the joy in Liam's eyes. He held me tightly, whispering in my ear, "Grace, thank you. Thank you for not giving up, thank you for coming into my life." I hugged him back, my eyes a little misty. "And thank you, for showing me that true love is about respect, trust, and planning a future with you in every tomorrow, instead of making you live in fear every single day." I didn't need to pick a perfect day. Because every day I spent with him was the best day. We walked out of City Hall. Thank you for listening to today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments section. Feel free to share your perspectives, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.